change a bit in my topic to be approach a big colorectal polyp. So I start look like a super kid slide. So you can see the overall incidence of the colorectal cancer in Thailand. If you know the number before, it's around 10, but it increasing by the time. And for more focusing in about the in the Thailand, especially in mortality, you will see it's quite high, but maybe less than European. I start with the definition of the polyp. This is all the definition. Something changed because the emerging of the serrated polyp. So now they not need to protrude any mass in the luminal. We can say it's a polyp. And according to ACS, polyadenoma and sessile serrated is leads to cancer. That's why we need to remove it. I try to find out what indication or guideline to help us to manage the polyp. This is recently that guideline is wrote by the surgeon. It's quite look easy. You consider if it looks like cancer, go on surgery. If it not, let it to endoscopic to deal with it. So it may be more detail if we find out in the gastroenterologist guideline. This guideline have a more detail, not only size, not only morphology, not in only the vascular pattern. They modify by use the genetic guideline. Genetic classification to more detail which way we will go. Anyway, I think in Asian country, many countries like us, the surgeon must to perform surgery and endoscopy. And also me too, me still perform both. So what the factor that we consider about the size? I think all of you know, increase the size, it increase risk of the cancer when it's above 5 millimeter, it's increasing. And this is summarized when we found the polyp. It's chance at least 1% is cancer and around 10% is advanced adenoma. After the size, what we look in the morphology. This says in the type 1 to 2B, if size more than 5 millimeter, it have a risk to go to be a cancer. In size, in type 2C until 3, is any size is this to cancer. But today's topic is about the big polyp. The report in 2017 in the big size more than 2 centimeter have all list in any, especially you focus on the left corner, the risk of the cancer or submucosal invasion is very high. It's around 15%. What's the next? After we look at the size and after the morphology, we use the nice guideline. I think all of us, even the medical students, know the nice guideline. It's really easy to discrimination type of the polyp. Like in this picture, it's really easy. But the problem of nice guideline is nice too, because it covers from the benign adenoma until early cancer. So the next that we must to know is genetic guideline. I think again, all of us know is to have a genetic 2A to define the low grade mucosal neoplasia, or 2B is high grade. And if we more detail about the morphology, non-polypoid and polypoid, is have a different in the image and different in the list to be invasive cancer. And after this, what we need to do, what we need to know, is the capillary classification. If we know the history, capillary classification is come before NICE and GENET, because the technology of the NBI, the firstly, they want to know the capillary chain over the mucosa. So that we need to know. Actually, we have many capillary classification, but the most talk when we describe the polyp is maybe Sano classification and GK classification. When we use it when we find the polyp. When we found the polyp like this, a big polyp. Because if we watch only one side, it may be like this. Maybe Sano type 3 or GK type CB, 3I. But on the big side, we can recognize good side and the bad side. Its bad side is maybe pattern 4 or Sano 3B. It's may risky to occur the deep submucosal invasion. So the first of the summary of the classification that we need to know, firstly is NICE, second is GENET, and the last is capillary classification. If I don't want to use any classification, what can I predict? Maybe we can predict from the macroscopic morphology like this. If small nodule over the polyp, short and thick stalk, present of the central depression of it, that can be predict is probably SM2 invasion. Like this in picture. This case is SM3. Another case is SM2. So I want to move to the next question. What is the effective of endoscopic treatment? This is an overview of the result of the advanced endoscopic treatment, including EMR, ESD, and ESD plus EMR. Overall, recurrent rate is around 14. And only 8% need the surgery after the pathologic result. Only 8%. So that means endoscopic management is good for our patient. So in multivariate analysis, maybe you can see it depends on the, it depends on the how many patients that you have in your center. That means the experience of the center. So to define and to more detail in each management, firstly is EMR. EMR is have an indication like this. If you look in the indication, it may be designed for the non-big polyp. And in the one series show us, if we perform EMR in the big polyp size more than 2 centimeters, overall recurrent rate in around 2 years, it may be 18%. It's not quite big number, because we can manage it like a Superkit show us in the last presentation. Anyway, we try to modify EMR because it's easier to perform an ESD. The first modification is XEMR. XEMR is mean extended or expanded EMR, increasing the circumferential resection margin to 5 millimeters. is not increase the R0 resection. It's increase intracorporeal or intraposterior bleeding during the operation. And lastly, the recurrent rate is the same. So that modification is mean not popular. And again, when we analyze what is the factor that is not achieve our hypothesis, is because incomplete resection. And incomplete resection occur when polyp is big. You see the average size in incomplete is around 3 centimeters. Another modification, I group it in one group, is a 9-assisted EMR. It included hybrid EMR and PCAT EMR. It's some a bit different. It gain more complete resection rate, and it down the recurrent rate from around 20% down to around 13%. But you see, it's not increased on block resection. And because it's not complete in en bloc resection, it increased the recurrent rate. The factor that increase the recurrent rate is, the first is again size. The second is fibrosis. And the third is maybe the location of the polyp. And the last, you see, is because it's not en bloc. When we analyze only 20 millimeter, you will see the completion rate in en bloc resection is around 80%. It looks quite good if we proper selection the patient. Next is the ESD. You see a lot of ESD is have an indication, and this the graphic show the concept of ESD to increase the distance of the submucosa. When it's small size, it's not difficult. You can get it off maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And I think all of us, we are surgeons, I think we able to do, because we can handle the complication. So look at the result of ESD. You see the overall R0 resection is very good. Especially in Asian country, is around 85%. And when we look at the result that we expect to see to lower the recurrent rate, it's low as we wish, around 2%. But to compare between ESD and EMR, in polyp bigger than 2 centimeters, you see ESD is better in en bloc resection, better in recurrent rate, but higher in complication. So to compare with this new EMR is maybe a bit worse, right? When we look at the recurrent rate after first resection, it's a bit worse. Anyway, when we look at the final result in position of the surgeon, it's the same rate that patient need to go to surgery after ESD or EMR, because the selection of the patient is different. So that means polyp characterization is important to understand. It's important for us to learn before we manage it. When we face about the big polyp, it still have a lower biopsy. I repeat this message many times because it's this concordance of the pathologic result and the biopsy, especially in the big polyp. We cannot reliable on the biopsy result, but we can rely on the image enhanced endoscopy in any technology that you have, NBI, BLI, any technology you have, anyone, you can touch it, even eye scan. But as you remember about the capillary calcification, we use it in this because if only we random biopsy on the big polyp, the result is unreliable. But if we use the capillary calcification and use it to make the targeted biopsy, it reduce the result of the false negative to around 15%. So that's why biopsy is still have a position in the big polyp. Anyway, I want to encourage all of us to cut it off because biopsy is poor accuracy, not related to surgical management, and negative impact to the endoscopic management. In this case, so because if we run out of the time, if we rearrange the polyp again, we will see it's not big as the first picture. It's just big head of the pedunculate. We can manage it easily, just snap polypectomy. And this same position, different people. In this case, just EMR is enough. And so for the theme of today is robotic. Now it have a robotic for the endoscopic management. It's Endomaster. It's not new. It's launched in the net. I think the same time of the Da Vinci, but it's not now. It's not available in Thailand. So I didn't hope it's available, but because I think it look like TAMIS or TEM. So what's my opinion when I face the polyp? The first thing, I evaluate resectability by endoscopic procedure, maybe size, maybe location, and use the nice orthogenetic classification. If I can do, I go on endoscopic management and send to the pathologist. If I can't, I look at the location. If it's in colon, I prefer surgery because it's low morbidity, and I think I have the same time to perform ESD and laparoscopy. But if it's in the rectum, I have two choices. First, biopsy, and the second, I consult the experienced endoscopist to perform is it can resectable or not by endoscopy. If it's not, change it to surgery. So that is the end of my opinion. Thank you very much.